Education is one of the most important human rights and one of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Inclusive quality education is one of the most important cornerstones of prosperity, health, and equality in every society. Yet, 250 million children around the world cannot read or write, and about 1 in every 5 children are out of school. Smart technologies have already transformed so many parts of our lives. However, if we compare an early 20th century classroom with one from today, not so much has changed. Most education systems today are based on fixed classrooms, studied textbooks, and standardized lectures. The teacher explains the concept at the right pace for the average student in the room. However, some students might have already known the material, while others don't understand it because there is knowledge they are lacking. Additionally, every student has different ways of learning, intellectual capabilities, and attention spans. This is why one-to-one human tutoring has long been recognized as the most effective approach of learning. Personalized education has a significant effect on improving learning outcomes. For instance, in one study, 90% of students who received one-to-one tutoring were able to perform as well as the highest 20% in a control group. Unfortunately, one-to-one tutoring is unmanageable for our students. Not only will there never be enough human tutors, it will also never be affordable. Additionally, to worsen the problem, teachers have reported to have more and more administrative tasks that consume their time. This results on little or no time left to assess every student's level of knowledge and personalizing their lessons. All this leads to one question: how can technology enable one-to-one tutoring to all learners across the world? Computers have been used in education for over 20 years. However, lessons were still standardized and did not provide the same kind of individualized attention that a student would receive from a human tutor. Nowadays, new emerging technologies, the abundance of data, and access to computer power have the potential to transform the way our children learn. Let's start by defining emerging technologies. Emerging technologies are the ones that show high potential but have not fully demonstrated their value yet. There are 4 characteristics in an emerging technology: fast recent growth, in the process of transition or change, market or economic potential that is not fully exploited yet, and finally, increasingly science-based. According to EY, the main emerging technologies are artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, 3D printed, robotic process automation, hardware robotics, blockchain, and augmented and virtual reality. Out of all these technologies, AI has one of the top potentials to completely redefine the way we teach and learn. In fact, research has shown that bringing AI into the classroom can result in an inclusive, personalized, and effective learning environment for every student in the world. Thus, the AI education market is expected to exceed $6 billion by 2024. However, to better understand the potential of the technology, we need to understand, first, what is artificial intelligence or AI. Generally, AI is referred as the theory and development of systems able to perform tasks normally requiring human intelligence. The variety of use cases and constant evolution of the technology is what often makes AI so difficult to understand, but it is also what makes it so powerful. To further understand AI, we need to define its core branches. Machine learning is a core branch of AI that gives computers the capability to improve their performance through exposure to data and experience. Deep learning gives the capability to the system to learn important features by itself, without requiring the data scientists to manually select them. Some of the human-like tasks AI can do include solve complex problems, interpret images, obtaining information from them, speech recognition, interacting with people through text and voice communication, and emotion recognition, which identifies human emotion. All these capabilities give AI the potential to create private tutors for every kid in the world. For example, Innova Schools, the largest private network of schools in Peru, could start tailoring their students' individual needs with virtual tutors that can have human-like qualities. Imagine that Carlos, a 7th grade student in Innova Schools, is learning English as a second language, and his school has just introduced a new virtual tutor. That tutor would think, react, act, and interact in a natural way using verbal and nonverbal communication with Carlos. The new virtual tutor is called Sara. She introduces herself to Carlos. Carlos says hello, and then he asks if he has any assignments for today. Using natural language processing, the virtual tutor is able to understand his question and start a natural conversation with him. Sara says yes and asks which topic he would like to pick in order to practice his English. He can pick any topic he likes, and he loves planets, so he picks planets. Sara can create a personalized topic for him and proposes a reading exercise because she has compared Carlos' reading performance with other students and has learned that his reading needs to improve. The system automatically structures a paragraph from unstructured documents on the internet using information extraction method. When Carlos is finished, Sara can ask questions to evaluate his reading comprehension. And Carlos can get immediate feedback on his answer without the need of his teacher evaluating it. The next day, Carlos is asked to write an essay as his homework. However, Sara, using artificial emotional intelligence on Carlos' tablet's camera, can sense that he is frustrated. Thus, she proposes to review some examples. Using the examples, Carlos can successfully complete the text of his homework. And Sara, through natural language processing, can detect grammar errors on his paragraph and automatically grade his assignments. The next day, Sara asks to have a conversation with Carlos in order to assess his speaking skills. She is able to talk to Carlos using speech recognition and natural language processing. And she is even able to answer some of Carlos' stories. At the end, she can grade him on fluency, vocabulary, and pronunciation immediately. Carlos has been falling behind this week on his vocabulary class. Therefore, on the last day, Sara proposes Carlos to engage with his surroundings to learn new words. Using visual recognition, Sara is able to teach new words in a more engaging way to Carlos. He can use his tablet camera to point at whatever he likes, and Sara will automatically tell him the name of the object. On the other side, Carlos' teacher, Patricia, also has a new tool. She is now able to monitor her class and each of her students. At the same time, she can automatically generate performance reports for each student. This really helps her because she has spent a lot of time generating different reports. Patricia also has a general overview on how her students are doing. This saves her a lot of time, so she can now spend more time connecting personally with her students. The system can analyze and give feedback to her as a teacher too. Using emotion recognition and natural language processing, she can have an overview on how her class is doing, their emotions, and give her recommendations on how to improve. Finally, through natural language processing, the system can help her process essays and detect grammar mistakes. In order to assess how this concept would be perceived by the market, it is key to first test it with potential users. To do this, users were presented with an interactive prototype so they can experience the concept. The idea was tested with school teachers and former English students. They highlighted different potential benefits of the prototype to the current education system and also mentioned potential trade-offs of the solution. The first benefit is that the tool will be able to give access to education to every student independent of location, language, economic situation, among others.
Good that he can be wherever he is, at any location, and able to access this, but still be in the control of what the teacher wants them to focus on. So I think that's really.
The second level, according to users, is the level of personalization the tool can provide. Studies have shown that students using personalized lessons perform equally well as students taking a traditional course that requires half as much time covering the material. The third benefit is the immediate feedback. As Rafaela, a teacher from Peru, mentioned, in the current system, some students do their homework and then never get feedback on their work due to lack of teachers' time. This new real-time feedback will allow them to reflect and correct on their errors, optimizing their learning journey. The fourth benefit is that it reduces the amount of time needed for administrative tasks such as grading, reporting, among others. This can improve teachers' retention as we see many skills teachers today are leaving the profession due to burnout. Another benefit is for parents. Parents today face many challenges in providing learning support to their children.
And when you didn't understand something, you had to wait to your parents until really late. But you had sometimes problems because your parents maybe were not so experts in the topic.
Some even believe that in the future children will be able to be presented with a tablet and could learn basic literacy and numeracy skills without the need for adult supervision. Lastly, with artificial intelligence, this tool has the capacity to improve its performance through exposure to data and experience over time. Though it can initially learn from English books and materials, it can continuously evolve from their interaction with the user, and some believe they can become even more experts in some subjects than actual teachers. However, on the other side, some concerns also arise. The first one is what will happen to the teacher. The users we interviewed believe some roles of the teacher are irreplaceable, especially the connection with the student. However, AI, instead of replacing the teacher, will take over ordinary and routinary tasks, and teachers will have more time to do what they do best, creating meaningful relationships and connections with the students. Most likely, we will see more co-working situations in which tasks are divided between teachers and AIs. The other concern of users was data privacy and property. Data is essential to the feasibility of these solutions.
It's mainly privacy because the mic is going to be recording and the camera is going to be recording, and of course, like as a parent, this is a huge concern.
As we can see, some caution is needed since there are some implications about the security and psychological health of students and teachers for the feeling of being constantly observed by the system. Other ethical issues arise by the understanding that AI systems evolve continuously and some become so complex we no longer know how it makes a judgment. With millions of lines of code, it is difficult to know what values are inculcated in the software and how algorithms actually reach decisions. So what if AI teaches our children an unintended value? This needs to be addressed before introducing these solutions into classrooms. Finally, there are many obstacles to introducing AI in developing countries. The main ones include hardware availability, electrical availability, internet reliability, data cost, student technology skills, language, and lack of culturally appropriate content. If we, as a society, don't ensure equal access to this technology, it can deepen the existing inequalities as the disadvantaged population is more likely to be excluded from AI-powered education. In conclusion, AI has the power to create personalized and effective learning environments for every student in the world. Some even believe it can be so transformative that it can empower children to teach themselves basic reading, writing, and arithmetic without the need of a parent or a teacher, with just a tablet. However, in order to surpass this AI hype and take advantage of its transformative powers, it is essential that we start addressing these trade-offs and dilemmas. As entrepreneurs rush to develop the latest AI technology or use it to solve key global problems, each has a responsibility to consider the ethics of these technologies. Companies also should have a formal code of ethics that lays out their principles, processes, and ways of handling ethical aspects. Finally, and most importantly, we need to start ensuring that society as a whole has sufficient AI literacy, enough to ensure that we use these new technologies appropriately, effectively, and ethically. Once we solve these ethical issues, we will be ready to see more AI-powered classrooms that can completely transform the way our children learn and that ensure quality education to all students across the world.